Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar, 5 Phases of COVID-19 Recovery, Survive and Thrive. The Quad Cities Chamber strives to be your one-stop business resource to assist during the coronavirus pandemic, connecting you to reliable and accurate information. There's always a lot of new information to process and respond to during these rapidly evolving and uncertain times, and the Quad Cities Chamber is here for you, advocating for your business at the federal and state levels and providing resources to you to help protect the health of your workforce and your operations. We are committed to bringing you the latest information as quickly as possible, and we have just launched a Reopening Your Business in the Age of COVID-19 toolkit. It is a downloadable 50-page PDF on our website that provides best practices and suggested considerations to help businesses prepare to reopen safely and responsibly when Iowa and Illinois health officials give everyone the green light. Our COVID-19 resource page on our website at quadcitieschamber.com is updated several times a day, so you might want to check that out. If you haven't signed up for our e-news, you can do that on our website as well. Just scroll all the way to the bottom of our main page, and it's down at the bottom, and we will get through this together. Today's Friday. Welcome, everybody. Today we have with us Marcia Erickson of ActionCOACH. She's a certified business and executive coach who has most recently partnered with ActionCOACH Business Coaching. I'm sorry, can't speak today. After 2 decades as a leader in healthcare, Marcia has found her passion nurturing business leaders to be more successful while holding them accountable to achieving their goals and dreams for their business or organization. She is passionate about helping leaders to enjoy their work every day by adding value to everything they do, learning new skills and strategies. She holds a master's degree in health administration from the University of Iowa and has held positions in strategic planning and business development, created and led a research and grant funding department, overseeing healthcare operation teams, and has mastered the craft of medical staff management. We want to thank Marcia for being here and presenting today, and we will take questions from participants if time allows. So if you have any questions along the way, if you can enter those into the question box, and we'll be sure to get those answered for you. We will record this webinar, and it will be posted on our website. And this is for informational purposes today only. And at this point, welcome, Marcia. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Julie. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here today. Good morning, everyone. We've got a big group today. We're going to be discussing the 5 phases of a pandemic, and we're going to talk about your path to opportunities ahead. So it's a great tie-in to all of the resources that the Chamber is providing in the toolkit. When we get done today, there'll be some great checklists and things that will go along with what we're talking about that you can use afterwards. What I find interesting about the fact that this covers 5 phases of a pandemic or recovery, economic recovery, we also have some other 5 phases in the world. And so the WHO actually has 5 phases of a pandemic from a public health perspective. And those of you who know anything about grief, and Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she outlines 5 stages of grief. And while those are less than positive cycles that we all have to go through, what's exciting when you think about the end, so think about the last chapter in that book, in that story, it's about accepting, adjusting, and moving into a new normal. So our goal as a person and as a business leader is to really use this time to get better, restart, think about it as a new year. Think about that excitement you had at the beginning of the year. And we have to, even though we're all getting weary and some challenges, we need to look at this with some excitement. We need to gather all we can, that energy, to get started. So again, ground rules for today, everyone's muted. Use the Q&A. I'm going to try to keep my eyes on that. We're going to look at each of these stages individually in a moment here. So at the end of each stage, throw out your questions so that you're not getting to the end and then going, oh, wait, I had a question about, lockdown. So Because we don't, and then the other thing is feel free, I'll try to call out some comments, and feel free to comment on other people's comments and get some discussion going. That can be really fun during webinars. Because we don't have a lot of time, and because each of your situations are different, this is a very high level overview. So I want you to take really good notes. I want you to pick 2 or 3 things that are really resonate with you and you think are important to your business. And then I will be offering some additional support at the end of this. I've been really trying to partner with businesses throughout this entire endeavor and helping them work through this, whether they're a client of mine or not. So we'll talk about that in the end. And again, after the webinar, the team's going to send out some checklists. So let's look at what each of these phases are. The other exciting thing that I like about this, what we're going to talk about today, this discussion, is that we're not just going to look at your business or your organization or your team. We're also going to look at you personally, because really, in a crisis, that's got to come first and foremost if we're going to show up and be the best version of ourselves for our customers, our clients, and our teams. So the first phase, the other thing to think about is every person and every business are going to be at a different phase in this journey. So they might not be in the same phase you are at the same time. So this is really about awareness about yourself and the other businesses that you're dealing with and your customers. Where are they at? So be thinking about that too as we walk through there. So the first phase is lockdown. Then we're going to talk about retooling. We're going to talk about then kind of warming up for the sprint. And then the last phase, once we get back up and running, is going to be we're going to compete and grow. So let's break down lockdown, because that's really where most of us are either at or have been. So some of this you've already been through. But we need to look at not just, so when we're looking at you personally, the first and foremost is you've got to, or probably did, take note of your family, your personal care. You've got to focus on your mindset. So think about where your customers, your suppliers, and your clients are. Where are their heads at, and what do they need? You as a leader have to focus on you and your self-care, thinking about your exercise, your mindset. What are you eating? So I've had one of those weeks that was a little bit weary. I think a lot of people struggled with this week in particular because it's the end of the very first full month. We thought something was going to be new and different. We're learning that it's not. And so we're getting a little bit weary. And so I knew today I wanted to bring my best for you. I'm excited to be here and talking to everyone. So I had to adjust a couple things, and I had to go for a run this morning and be really conscious. I had to go get my favorite coffee from my favorite coffee place so that I had the energy to bring to you today. So you need to be doing those same things for yourself as a leader. So then what do you need to be doing in your business? When you were locking down, thinking about your staff first. What does your team need? They are just as scared and nervous and confused as you are. So communication is the best way to get over that fear, and giving them a plan forward. So even if you don't have all the answers, few of us do or did, but be communicating with them what you do know and how you're making decisions, where you're getting information. Be working with your banker to look at your finances if you haven't already. Same thing in your personal life. Can you defer some payments? Can you renegotiate some interest rates? Can you cut back on a few things? Very few banks and lenders are not working with people. So make sure you're doing that. If you have to mothball your organization, if you actually had to shut down, be sure and protect your assets. If you've got a storefront, cover things up, take expensive inventory home, store it, and then most importantly, continue to stay on top of those government programs. So some people have had to shift their mindset around that. The chamber has been incredible in giving us resources. Keep your eye on that, because there's still more coming every day. Be aware, go out and seek resources and take advantage of those things. They're there for you and to help us continue this economy and keep going. So once we've moved out of that lockdown phase, it's kind of a shock phase, like now what do I do? Now we might have a little bit of downtime where we can start to retool ourselves and our businesses for what's to come. So you may have some time on your hands. I'm sending out a great checklist that is just some great things to do personally and in your business while you may have downtime. If you're one of those that do, think about learning. Block out some time each day. What do you need to learn in order to be super successful as we move forward? This is a time to make some new routines and prioritize those things that are moving and shifting. How am I using my time? And set some new routines that you want to keep going forward. Take that opportunity. What do you need to be doing in your business? What's your vision? Take some time. This is really hard when you're feeling a little bit challenged and starting to get a little bit exhausted. You're looking at the day to day and the minute to minute, but take a step back and say, where do I want to be in 3 years? Did my vision for what I'm doing change? Because there's going to be opportunity in this. Some businesses aren't going to make it, and unfortunately, and they're going to open up opportunities for others. So there's going to be shifting of business and market share. Does that change for you? You're going to offer something new and different. Does that change where you take your business? What does that opportunity look like? So do that for yourself and look out further, because it may change your business model. Your employees are going to be looking for productive things to do. Now, you have to be careful if you've got employees who are on unemployment. You can't mandate anything, but what opportunities are there out there for them to use downtime? If they're really good, they're looking for opportunities to grow and learn. Help them do that. Help them find those opportunities. Can you, if you're looking, if things change for you and you've moved to a virtual space, change your business model, does that change your market share or your primary market? Maybe you look nationally now instead of just regionally. Kind of an exciting concept. I'm not gonna focus a lot on marketing because we have tons of marketing resources. There's been some great webinars on marketing that really get into the nitty gritty. What I will tell you is just at a high level, you'll notice 3 phases in here where marketing is extremely important. I will tell you, this is not the time to cut a marketing budget. You may need to move it around. Your marketing message is going to change. I think you've seen some great examples out there of companies who have really shifted an empathetic message. They're meeting their customers and clients where they are and showing that they're a leader in their industry and they're in touch with what everyone needs. So you still need to be communicating. There's going to be a lot of changes coming. So I just draw that to your attention. There's going to be 3 phases: retooling, sprint, and when we're done with this, complete and grow. Those are all going to require some increased marketing. So be communicating with your customers about what's changing. What are you doing to protect them? And what are you doing to protect your team? Even if you don't philosophically agree with all aspects of social distancing and how we're trying to deal with this from a public health standpoint, it's not really about you right now. It's about what your customers are expecting and what their fears are and expectations. And it's about your image. So keep that in mind. It's not just about, how you feel philosophically. Keep your marketing going and let people know that you're here for them. So now we're moving into warming up. And don't forget, if you've got ideas, questions, things you want to share with the group, throw those in the Q&A. If you have some ideas that you've been doing and implementing in your business, throw those out so other people can benefit from them. Now we're moving into the warm-up phase. So now is this phase where we know that it's coming. We know we need to be getting things in place. We've got to be conserving energy and getting ready for the sprint. So we're getting close to thinking about the lockdown ending. We've got a date. So now what do we need to do? Again, you've got to focus. You personally have to focus on your time and how you are going to budget your time and your energy to get ready. So we encourage people to use a default calendar, block out those key times throughout your week, how you're going to do your work, when you're going to work on your business, when you work in your business, focusing on your mindset. You've got to prepare mentally. You may need to take a little break in the warm-up phase to ensure that you have the energy to go forward. And then you're going to be looking at your team as well. You're going to be starting to get everyone back in the the mode of work. So personal care is going to be important in this phase as well. You're going to be working long days prepping. So you've got to take care of yourself so that you can be your best for your team and your community. So let's talk about your team a little bit. So now they've got a mind shift to make, and you've got to start communicating with them, thinking and planning. There's a very low likelihood that doors are just going to open up and we're going to go back to normal. This is going to be a phased approach. You're probably going to be changing your hours. You're going to be bringing staff back at a different point. So how do you triage that? How do you know who to bring back when in a phase? So you've got to really map that out and take the time and effort to get that down on paper and really think through that. Who are you going to need and when are you going to need them? What supplies are you going to need? Are you going to be able to get the supplies? So even though the governor says it's time to open, are you going to be ready? You've got to be in close contact with your suppliers. Maybe you need to pick up a new supplier to make sure that you have all of the things that you need to open. So maybe you don't get to open on day one because you don't have the things you need, but you'd like to mitigate that as much as possible. And then we're back to communicating and marketing again. You're going to be communicating, here's what we're doing different. Here's what's going to look different when you come back in. Here's our safety protocols. Here's what you can expect. This is how we're different. Maybe we've differentiated ourselves and added some uniqueness to what we're doing. And there will be some industries that open, but some are probably going to phase in. So restaurants, you're going to have probably fewer people in initially. We're probably going to open up with a certain number, in week 1 and a certain number in week 2. So then how does that impact your staffing? And all along here, it goes without saying, we need to be monitoring our cash flow to see, to really have our hands around what money's coming in when and what expenses we need to be paying. Be ready to communicate. Maybe you have, you need to do, if you're in a clinical environment, you may have different waiting room procedures. People may need to be waiting in their cars instead of in a waiting room. You may need to extend hours in order to see the greatest amount of people with the least amount of contact. And then you may have to staff in shifts. So I don't know about you, but this stage causes me anxiety because thinking about that warming up and then the what's next, the sprint phase, there's going to be a lot more, there's going to be a lot of stress. There's a lot of unknown. We've gotten kind of comfortable, I think, in some ways in where we're at. So this causes anxiety. So the best way to do that is, and a lot of us don't have control. So as a business owner, not having control over things is super out of our comfort zone, and we're not comfortable in that space. So the best way to overcome that is focus on what you can control. If you get in a place where you just get stuck and you can't move and you get overwhelmed, then take a step back, give yourself some grace and focus on one thing. Maybe it's one thing in the morning, maybe it's one thing per day, one thing per week, and get that thing completed, start to finish. Maybe that you have to push other things off, but once you get through that one thing, your productivity and your self-confidence and your control are going to go up, your anxiety is going to go down. Same thing with your staff. Give them something to focus on. Show them what the plan is and give them some things to do so that they have a sense of moving forward. And if you have questions about that, again, throw those in the Q&A. So now lockdown ends. We had a date, we have an open date, we're off and running now. So now we're in the sprint phase. So what does that mean? You're going to need a ton of energy. You're going to have some clarity. You've hopefully spent the last 3 phases really planning and pivoting and adjusting on what you need to do. So now it's time to get focused on seeing clients and customers and going. You still may have people in lockdown. So again, you've got to look at your suppliers and things, and are you going to be able to get what you need? Again, telling your story about what you're doing differently to keep people safe. We're going to be open and busy at this point, so you're going to have a mix of customers, clients, things to do, and stress. But you've got to also be committed to providing your products and service. So help the people in your life from a personal standpoint. Do more check-ins with teammates, with friends, get other business owners on the line and learn from them. So one benefit, we're in a complicated place where we're straddling two states that we may be opening on different days. Learn from that. Those that aren't, take advantage and look and learn from what other businesses are doing and what's working and what's not working, so that you can implement those in your own businesses. So reach out to people. None of these phases are a time to shut down and isolate yourself. So in your business, you're going to have to lead from the front. So that's where that energy comes from. Some of you have leadership styles that are from the back. You want to put your people out front and tell them what to do and go. You're going to have to lead from the front for a while, because none of us have been through this before. They don't know what you want, need, or expect, and you might not either. So you're going to have to go first. This is going to take your maximum effort. This is grit. This is where it's going to get challenging. But focus on the existing clients you have. You'll notice marketing pops up again. Changing up your message, telling people how to do business with you now, how different it was before. Your team's still going to be nervous, so over communicate. Keep the huddles. A lot of businesses started huddles, daily huddles early on. Keep those going. I also think a lot of us have increased our marketing and implemented a lot of things that we should have been doing all along. So this has caused us some motivation and encouragement to implement those new things. Anxiety is exhausting. So keep that in mind. You're going to need energy. So give yourself breaks, be gracious with your teams as you bring this back up, and then just keep everyone as informed and keep the expectations as clear as you can. I mentioned this before, focus on your existing clients. You don't want to lose them. And let them know, here's how we're going to take care of you. You're a loyal customer to us, and you've been through this all the way through. Thrilled that you came back to work with us, and this is what we're doing to show our appreciation. Your marketing is going to change now. So first it was, this is what happened during lockdown and what we've changed. Then it's coming. We're going to be opening. Now you're open. So now you need to be communicating loud and clear that you're open. And here's the reasons you should be coming to us. Here's how we're keeping you safe. If you're better prepared and can communicate better and provide a better service, you will pick up additional customers at this point. This is your opportunity to shine and appear as an industry leader. All the while testing and measuring, that last bullet there, what that means in the simplest of terms is keep track of what's working. Anytime you try something new and different, you're going to have to pivot your business in very short little changes. Figure out what works and what doesn't work, so that you know where to invest your time, energy, and money to make yourself the most successful. And lastly, now we've got, we're back to the new normal that we don't know what that's going to look like. But we're not changing at the rapid pace that we are. We're open, we're back in place. We're getting back to normal hours. We've got the new normal. We're going to have some safety protocols in place. Those things are going to have to last. It's almost certain that there's going to be a second phase of this disease. And so the things that we're doing now, we're going to have to keep in place or do longer term. We're not killing this. It's going to come back. We are limiting the spread of it. So keep that in mind. 80% of your business may go back to normal, but there's going to be 20% that's different. Your efficiency may fall a little bit because you've got increased cleaning and disinfecting protocols in place, things like that. So from a personal standpoint, what does that look like? Nobody's life is going to feel like it's back to normal. There's going to be long-term implications of this. When you look at other economic downturns and major events in the course of the world, there's long-term effects of that. There's a lot of people just from a mental health standpoint that are going to have long-term effect of this. So we have to keep that in check. Your stress level is now going to come back up because now we're normalizing, and yet we're still kind of dealing with all the changes, and not everyone's going to be at the same point, and they're not going to have the same understanding. But hopefully we're back in a place where we are starting to have a routine. We're back to some consistency, some things that we knew and loved before we're able to do. We're interacting with people. We've got to keep an eye on that work-life balance again, but at this point we should be introducing some more fun and some activities that we love to do. So think about that for your team too. How can you be supporting your team in that, your family and your business? So then we're talking about, from a business standpoint, you probably learned a lot over the past 4 phases throughout this entire experience about continuous improvement, continuous process improvement, tweaking things, making sure they work, hardwiring them, and then starting something new. So systems and processes are going to be critical. As I said, if we're looking at if we're going to have to put some of these procedures back in place, you're going to want them written down and systematized and kind of hardwired so that you can bring that back out again if you need to, if you've left them. And now it's time to actually start thinking about growth again. So my job as a coach is typically to help businesses grow. Right now it's to help businesses survive. So how are we going to get through this? And then we get to this last phase, we get to grow again. Again, some businesses probably have picked up market share if they've done things really well. So now it's time to, maybe you do look at acquiring something new. Maybe you do look at opening another site and growing. So again, the reality is this is going to come back in phases. Think about what the new normal is going to be for your clients and how do you communicate that. My passion for, and I would say really our ultimate goal as coaches and as action coaches, to help you build a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you, whether you want it to work without you or not. That's how you are going to build an asset that you are proud of, and the ultimate goal that you have for your business. And we're here to help you do that. And we will, my message today is one of hope. We are going to get there. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of hope and a little bit of framework to plan out your moves over the next few days and next few weeks. My job is to help you think differently about your life and your business, and to help. I'm really passionate about our community and the businesses that are in it. So I'm here to help you survive and focus on growth in the future. We've talked about the 5 phases of pandemic. We've looked at it through a lens of your personal life and your business life and what you need to do. So hopefully feel a little bit more prepared today. I hope I've given you a lot to think about. As I mentioned, you're going to be getting a lot of resources. If I'm available to help you think through all of these things that I gave you, think through the notes that you've done, and pick 2 or 3 things. If you're a small business and you just feel like, I don't even know where to start, reach out to me and we'll sit down and do a virtual coffee, and we'll just pick 2 or 3 things that you need to be working on right now. If you feel like you need a little bit more strategy and you think maybe this has something to offer for you, I will, I'm blocking out time and do a complimentary strategy session with you so that, to give you some things to walk away with in your business. So my contact information is here. I hope you found great value in this today, and feel free to reach out. And
Well, Marcia, I love the fact that you tackled this both from the personal and both the business side of it, because clearly in a pandemic situation, it's so important that we take care of ourselves, because we have to have the energy and be able to lead our businesses, and the interplay is just, it's right on top of each other and so close. So I certainly appreciate that, and just a lot of great information here today. Again, we have that Reopening Your Business in the Age of COVID-19 toolkit. So I think between what Marcia talked today about and some of her checklists and so forth that are available, in addition to thinking about what businesses need to do to reopen, I think there's some really good resources there to start from, and I know people have already been thinking about it. So we really appreciate your time today, and so timely today on this Friday, this presentation. So thank you very much. Thanks everybody for joining us. And again, resources are available on our website at quadcitieschamber.com. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks again for joining us.